response when this happened, Matthew Shepard?
Well, I've been close enough to the case to know many of the people. My daughter is a sheriff on the department. As for the gay issue, I don't give a damn one way or another, as long as they don't bother me. And even if they did, I'd just say no thank you and walk away. And that seems to be the attitude of most of the population of Laramie. They might poke one, in a bar situation, maybe even smack one in the mouth if they've been drinking, but most would just say I don't swing that way and whistle on about their business. Laramie is live and let live.
I'd say Marge knows a lot more except she's even willing to say, and we're just gonna have to respect her for that.
Well, where are you going with this story?
Oh, well, we still haven't decided, but when we're done, we're going to try to bring it around to Laramie.
Well, there are parts I won't tell you then.
Company member Andy Paris.
For the first time, we met with somebody who actually knew Matthew Shepard. Trish Steger, the owner of a shop in town, referred to him as Matt.
Matt used to come into my shop. That's how I knew him.
It was the first time I heard him referred to as Matt instead of Matthew. Did he go by Matt to everyone?
Well, on the 2nd of October, I get a phone call about 10 after 7.
Doc O'Connor.
It was Matthew Shepard. And he said to me, can you pick me up at the corner of 3rd and Grant? So anyhow, I pull up to the corner to see Matthew Shepard. It's a little guy, about 5'2", soaking wet, I bet you, 97 pounds tops. They say he weighed 110, but I would not believe it. They also said in the newspapers that he was about 5'5", but this man, he was really only about 5'2", maybe 5'1". So he comes up the window. I'm going to try and go in steps here so you can better understand the principle of this man. So he comes up to the window, and I say, are you Matthew Shepard? He says, yeah, I'm Matthew Shepard. But I don't want you to call me Matthew or Mr. Shepard. I don't want you to call me anything. I want you to know that my name is Matt. And even more so, I want you to know that I am gay, and we're going to go to a gay bar. You have a problem with that? I said, how are you paying? The fact is that Laramie doesn't have any gay bars. And for that matter, neither does Wyoming. See, he was paying me to take him down to Fort Collins, Colorado, about an hour away. Matt was a blunt little shit. You see what I'm saying? He always was. But I liked him because he was straightforward. You see what I'm saying? Maybe gay, but straightforward. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know, how does any one person ever know about another? You should really talk to my sister Romaine. She was a really close friend of Matthew's.
We never called him Matt, actually. Most of the time we called him Choo Choo because we used to call him Matt Choo, and then we just called him Choo Choo. And whenever I think of Matt, I always think of his incredible beaming smile. He'd just walk into a room and he'd be like, he'd smile at everyone, and he just made you feel great. And he would stare people down in the coffee shop because he always wanted to sit on the end seat so he could talk to me while I was working. So if someone was already sitting in that seat, he would just sit there and stare at them until they left, and then he would claim his spot. But Matthew definitely had a political side to him. He really wanted to get into political affairs. That's all his big interest was watching CNN and MSNBC. It's the only TV station I ever saw his TV tuned into. He was really smart with political things, but not too smart with common sense things. So he moves to Laramie to go to school.
Matthew was very shy when he first came in.
John Peacock, Matthew Shepard's academic advisor.
To the point of being somewhat mousy, I'd almost say. He was having difficulties adjusting here, but this was home to Matthew, and he made that quite clear. So his mousiness, his shyness, gave way to someone who was excited to go down this track he was just beginning to embark on. He was just figuring out wanting to work on human rights, how to go about doing that. And when that happens, this person begins to bloom a little bit. He was starting to say things like, wow, there are opportunities here. There are things in this world that I can do. I can be important. And when that happens, you start to see a smile.
I did hear from Matthew about 48 hours before his attack, and he was just telling me how he had just joined the gay and lesbian group on campus, and he was really enjoying it. Getting ready for Pride Week and whatnot. He was just totally stoked about being away at school. You know, he was really happy to be there.
And in retrospect, and I can only say this in retrospect, of course, I think that's where he was heading, towards human rights, which just adds to the irony and tragedy of this all.
Let me tell you something else. There's more gay people in Wyoming than meets the eye. I know for a fact. They're not particularly the what do you call them? The queens, you know, gay people, queens, you know, run around faggot type people. No, they're the ones that throw veil, hay, you know, jump on horses, brand them, and kick ass. You see what I'm saying? As I always say, don't fuck with a Wyoming queer, because they will kick you in your fucking ass. But that's not the point of what I'm trying to say. Because I know a lot of gay people in Wyoming. I mean, I know a lot of people, period. I've lived up here some, 40-odd years. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think Wyoming people give a damn one way or another if you're gay or straight. That's just what I just said. It doesn't matter. Look, if you've got 8 men and 1 woman in a Wyoming bar, which is often the case, now you gotta stop and think to yourself, who's getting what here? You see what I'm saying? Oh, geez, it don't take a big intelligent mind to figure that one out.
My understanding when I first got here
Catherine Connolly.
is that I was the first out lesbian or gay faculty member on campus, and that was 1992, so it wasn't that long ago. I was asked in my interview what my husband does for a living, and so I just came out then. Do you want to hear a funny story? So when you first get here as a new faculty member, there's all these things that you have to do, and I remember one day I was in my office, and I noticed that this woman called. I was expecting, you know, I thought it was like a health insurance phone call, something like that. And so I call her back, and I can hear her. She's on her keyboard, she's clicking away, and I say, "This is Kathy Connolly returning your phone call." And she says, "Oh, it's you." And I think, this is bizarre. And she says, I hear you're gay. I hear you are." And so I just say, "Mm-hmm." And she says, "I hear you came as a couple. I'm one too, not a couple, just a person." And so she was a type of lesbian who knew I was coming and wanted to meet me immediately. And I later found out that there were other lesbians that she knew who wouldn't be seen with me, that I would irreparably taint them, that just to be seen with me could be a problem.
Well, I knew it was going to be hard as a gay man,
Jonas Slonaker.
but I kept telling myself, you know, people should live where they want to live. And there'd be times I'd go down to Denver and I'd go down to the gay bars and people would ask me where I'm from and I'd say, Laramie, Wyoming. And I'd meet so many men down there that grew up here and they're like, "That's not a place I can live. How can you live there? I had to get out, grr, grr, grr." But there would always be this one guy who'd be like, "Oh gosh, I really miss Laramie. That's where I want to live." And he'd get this little starry-eyed look in his eyes. And I'm like, if that's where you want to live, do it. I mean, imagine if more gay people lived in smaller towns. But it's easier said than done, of course.
Today we are leaving our motel and heading to a Best Western.
Moises Kaufman.
My only hope is that it's a better Western.
Amanda Grimes.
Today we divided up to go to different churches in the community. Moises and I were given a Baptist church. We were welcomed by the Reverend himself at the entrance of the chapel. This is what I remember of his sermon that morning. "Brothers and sisters, I am here today to bring you the word of the Lord. Now there is a simple truth that I tell to all my colleagues, and I will tell it to you today. The word is either sufficient or it is not. Scientists tell me that human history is 5 billion years old, 6 billion years old, give or take a billion years. The Bible tells me that human history is 6,000 years old. The word is either sufficient or it is not."
The sociology of religion in the West.
Stephen V. Johnson, Unitarian minister.
Dominant religious traditions in this town, Baptist, Mormon, they're all over, you know? It's not just Salt Lake, they're everywhere. They're like jam on toast down here.
The Mormon church has a little different thing going on that bothers some folks.
Doug Laws, state ecclesiastical leader of the Mormon church.
And that is that we absolutely believe that God still talks to men. We don't believe it was written in the Bible by some folks. No. We believe that the prophet has the ability to receive inspiration and revelation from God.
So, the spectrum would be, I guess, over on the left side panel, so far left that I'm probably sitting by myself, is me and the Unitarian Church. Now, Unitarians are, by and large, humanists, many of whom are atheists. We're actually not even quite sure that we are a religion. And over on the right side of the panel, much to his credit, is Father Roger, Catholic priest. And God bless him, he did not equivocate at all when this happened. He held a vigil for Matthew that night.
I was really jolted because, when we did the vigils, we wanted to get other ministries involved, and they were not going to get involved. And I called up some of them, and they were like, we're just going to stand back and see which way the wind is blowing. And that angered me immensely. We're supposed to stand out as leaders. And here I'm thinking, wow, what's going on here?
God has set boundaries, and one of our responsibilities is to learn. Now, once you sort of get a feel for what's out of bounds, you get a feel for what's in the boundary. There's a proclamation that came forth on the family. A family is one man, one woman, and children. No sexual deviation. There is no leniency in the Mormon Church. We just think it's out of bounds.
I warn you, you will be mocked. You will be ridiculed for the singularity of your faith. But you let the Bible be your guide. It's in there, it's all in there.
The Christian pastors, many of the conservative ones, fell silent on this. You see, conservative Christians use the Bible to show the rest of the world what it says here in the Bible. And many Americans believe, and they do, that the Bible is the Word of God, and how are you going to fight that?
I am a biblicist, which means the Bible doesn't need me to be true. The Bible is true whether I believe it or not. The Word is either sufficient or it's not.
I came to Laramie on September 15th. I looked around, tumbleweed, cement factory, and thought to myself, what the hell am I doing in Wyoming? 3 weeks later, I found out what the hell I am doing in Wyoming.
Today I sat down with university student Zubaida Ula. She is an Islamic feminist who likes to do things her own way.
I've lived in Laramie since I was 4 years old. My parents are from Bangladesh, and 2 years ago, because I'm Muslim, I started wearing a scarf. And that's really changed my life in Laramie, yeah. Like, people always say things to me like, why do you wear that thing on your head? Like, when I go to the grocery store, I'm not looking to give people Islam 101, you know? And so I usually just say, well, it's part of my religion, and they'll say, and this is the worst part, because they'll say, I know it's part of your religion, but why? And it's, how am I supposed to get into the doctrine of physical modesty in my own spiritual relationship to the Lord, standing there with my pop and chips? You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, it's so unreal to me that, yeah, I grew up from New York to be doing a play about Laramie. Then I was thinking about it, you're going to be doing a play about my town. You're going to be on a stage in New York pretending that you're us.